Okay, so welcome to the second demo. In this demo, I will show you how to create or destroy an entity, or for each entity, I will show you how to add or remove the data component or the private component. I will also show you how the PhysX is combined to the engine. And at last, the docking and the viewport of the GUI. So first, let's start the engine. Okay, as you can see, we have a backpack here and the ground. And here are three entities in the scene that provided lighting, two directional light and a point light. Okay, let me adjust the position of the point light. All right. Okay, as you can see, different light will cast different shadows together. And here, I will show you how the PCSS work. So as you can see, we have a soft shadow here, and the softness of the shadow is adjusted according to the distance between the shadow caster and the shadow receiver. A good demo is to adjust the light size of the light. As you can see, I can make it 0. So now we have a perfect hard shadow. So now let's make the light size bigger. Okay, as you can see, the shadow which is closer to the shadow caster is still quite hard, but the shadow that is away from the shadow caster is softer. So this is how the PCSS works. All right, now let's go back to the creation and destruction of the entity. So let's delete all three entities that cast light. And here, as you can see, there's no light in the scene but the environmental light. The environment lighting can be adjusted in the light manager. Okay, let's make it to 0.1. Okay, so now let's create a new entity. In the entity inspector, we select this entity. Okay, so this is one of the basic entity. It only has a local to parent and local to world, which will represent the transform of the entity in the world. Now let's add a data component, the directional light. Okay, as you can see, this entity has a directional light component, so it will cast directional light into the scene. Let's adjust the rotation of this entity so that the light will come from the top. All right. Okay. And we can also adjust the light size. Okay. So as you can see, we have some shadow artifacts, and this can be removed by adjusting the bias of the light. Okay. So this is a way to add an entity, which is to do it directly in the Entity Explorer. Let me show you another way to add an entity in the scene is to directly place a model into the scene by drag and drop. Now let's switch the scene camera. Because the main camera is what you will have when you build the game, but in the scene camera, you can edit the in-scene entities. So here, let's drop a sphere into the scene. Okay. So as you can see, we have a sphere here. Now let's go back to the entity inspector and try to make it somewhere else. Uh, and we can also adjust the scale. Okay, so now what if Uh, what if I want to make this sphere cast point light? Okay. So as you can see, the point light it seems is not working. That is because the mesh from the sphere is blocking the light uh, from the center. So what I can do is to select the sphere and select its mesh render component and enable the backcalling. All right. As you can see, the point light is performing normally. Okay, so now the next part is about the PhysX. So here I use the NVIDIA PhysX to provide the physics simulation for the system. So here I want to make the sphere drop with gravity, and let's see the effect when it hits the backpack. So what we need to do is to add the rigid body to the backpack and the sphere. Rigid body, okay. All right, let's pause the engine for a moment. Okay, let's move it back. So for the backpack, we'll use a box collider. Uh, let's adjust the size of it. So as you can see, here we use a transparent box to draw the bound of the collider, but you can't see the transparent box in the camera because this is for the debugging. So you can only see the box in the scene camera. Okay, let's make it narrower. Uh, let's also adjust the center and make it shorter. Okay, now that's it. Okay, so the next step is to add a sphere collider to the sphere. So now let's select the sphere and make it bigger. Okay, all right. Let's make it also higher. And also, we don't want the sphere or the backpack to fall onto the ground. So the next step is to add a static rigid body for the ground. Oh, I already did it, but the bound is not like it's not cover the entire ground. So here I can hit the adjust mesh, apply mesh bound. So it will apply to the surface. As you can see, we have a buffering problem. This can be solved by applying a minimum value for the XYZ size. Let's set it to 0.01. Mhm. All right. So now let's start playing. Oh, okay. So seems that they are quite far away. So let's move it closer. Mm, huh. This is not that easy. And next a fear higher. Okay. I hope this will do the job. Oh, let's also adjust the linear speed to 0 so that it won't fly elsewhere but just free fall. Okay, now let's play it. Okay, so I hope the collision happens. Alright, let's get the sphere back. Okay, so this is about the PhysX. And the last thing is about the viewport and the docking. So this is a feature from the AMGUI. I didn't develop it, but I make it one of the feature of my own engine. So I'm also going to demonstrate it. Okay, so what I can do is to make the window smaller. And as you can see, the viewport allows you to drag a window directly out of the uh, main window of the engine. So if you have like multi more than one monitor, you can use this feature, and I'm quite sure it will be very useful. So the docking is that it works like Visual Studio. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. Thank you.